Thousands of Jamaicans might have been exposed to dangerous levels of radiation after receiving treatment at dental offices that utilize ionizing radiation tools. Dr. Cliff Riley, Director General of the Hazardous Substances Regulatory Authority, joins us, and he's going to discuss the hazardous substances regulations and what's being done to protect patients and hold medical professionals accountable.
Morning, sir. Welcome to Smile.
Good morning, Neville.
First thing is, what is ionizing radiation? Double-barrel question. And secondly, all dental offices would have these?
Ionized radiation, I'll touch that one first, is pretty much the higher levels of radiation that can cause harm to the body. You have a regular radiation. So when you look at electromagnetic spectrum, you have radiation from very low levels, radio frequency, like on our phones, communication, all the way through to, and most of us know about microwave energy, then it moves to ultraviolet from the sun, then you go to a higher level being X-rays, gamma radiation. So ionized radiation is able to penetrate different organs, different components within the body, and cause alterations to the DNA within any organisms, plants, humans as well. So it poses quite a bit of risk. Do all dental facilities have X-ray units? No. Not all dental facilities utilize X-ray units, but a large population, a large percentage of entities do.
So hang on, just before data, so if you are getting an X-ray of a tooth, that means ionized?
Definitely, because once you do an X-ray, so let's think about what X-rays are really used for. It's really to get a clear image of a particular component or aspect in your body. So CTs, or computerized tomography, use X-rays as well, but at very high energy levels. For most dental facilities, the energy level for their X-ray units is pretty low, and one of the reasons why in some cases, in some jurisdictions, they don't do a lot of lead shielding and so, because lead is not as high as other areas. And so yes, you have different types of X-rays on dental facilities. You have your intraoral X-rays, you have extraoral X-rays, and the extraorals are the ones that tend to use higher energy level. So when you normally put those the piece in your mouth and say bite down on it, that doesn't give you as much. It's not as much energy coming from those units. But then the other units, the panoramic, self-metric, and so forth, tend to use a lot more energy.
Interesting.
I listen to that, but I'm saying to myself, Lord, then when I go to the dentist, how do I know which is which? Because do I say, sir, are you using a panoramic? But like for the average person.
It doesn't really matter what type of X-rays they use in terms of the potential risk to you as an individual. What is more important are the safety systems that they have in place to prevent any harm to you. One of the things when looking at ionizing radiation, and in different jurisdictions, persons may say, hey, X-ray is not all that bad. But there is no minimum amount of X-rays you can do at any one point, in any 1 year, and there's no real maximum. It depends on what the treatment outcome is, or the diagnostic outcome, desired diagnostic outcome. One of the things that we always advocate for, and this is the principle in terms of using ionizing radiation, as low as reasonably achievable. Use the lowest dose of radiation to achieve the desired outcome, whether it be treatment or diagnostic outcome. So those are some of the critical components that we look into. So for us, from the Hazardous Substances Regulatory Authority, we implement the Nuclear Safety and Radiation Protection Act of 2015 and regulations of 2019. Because we use ionizing radiation across the board in Jamaica at a lot of different points. You know, when you're going through airports, a baggage are scanned using X-ray units. When materials come into the country, they are scanned using X-ray units and other units at different ports of entry. So we interact with ionizing radiation generally, travels, for border control, all those areas. So what is important to us is that there are safety systems in place to reduce your risk exposure as individuals, members of the public, and safety systems in place to protect the workers who are utilizing those equipment.
Yep. Not a double-barrel question here, Dr. Riley. Would the dentists know what you're talking about, that it can hurt us? And when I say can hurt us, how can it hurt us?
But of course they are aware, because persons are trained in the clinical space, whether it be dental, medical, and other areas, would be familiar with the potential hazards of ionizing radiation and the impact it has on the body. Whenever there is overexposure, they use a higher doses than required, and the repeated exposure to ionizing radiation, the impact it can have. So X-rays are pretty much on the lower end of the spectrum. So a lot of persons may say, hey, it's not that major issue unless you go to the CTs or go to other areas, but they do pose quite a bit of risk to persons because they're looking on, and there's a reason. When you think about persons who are pregnant, they always ask you for their X-ray data. Right. Are you pregnant? Right. Are you do you have a child? Because it has significant impact on future generations as well.
What is significant impact? What do you mean by that?
Well, the thing with
In other words,
significant
what can happen to me if I'm exposed to that?
Right, let's look at it. Extensive exposure to ionizing radiation can also lead to what we call mutation in your cells. And a lot of times when you have mutation in cells, that will lead to cancer as well. So there are quite a bit of possibilities that can lead to mutations within particular cells, not multiplying properly, and lead to different forms of cancers. It may lead to other conditions as well, maybe inflammation. If the doses are pretty much too high, it can lead to skin burning and quite a bit of other issues. And we have seen some of those scenarios in Trinidad and other countries.
So I want to talk about the safety measures that are in place.
Yeah.
Like who is able to. So I have a dental clinic, but is there a safety measure that says I can't use a particular type of equipment if it exposes the patient to X levels? What are the safety measures?
I'm happy to answer the question, Dela, because that is what we do at the Hazardous Substances Regulatory Authority. We evaluate these facilities. So we do thorough inspections with teams of experts. So we're internationally trained and recognized. We also ensure that these facilities are what they call equipment maintenance programs in place. So we all have cars. Sometimes a car working pretty good. If you don't maintain it, you're going to have issues. The challenge with having an X-ray unit or any form of ionizing radiation type unit is that if it's not monitored or maintained, you don't know when it goes bad. So you're not sure the level of radiation that person has been exposed to, or the spread of that radiation, the scatter of the radiation. The other thing is we also have a team of experts, and as qualified experts, so we evaluate these equipment to ensure that they are functioning properly. And from our experts from the Hazardous Substances Regulatory and Authority, we look on the shielding in terms of the type of systems that are in place to prevent the scattering of radiation. We look on how persons are monitored. Those are the operators, and operators of units must be concerned as well.
Yes.
So look on they being monitored, because there's a maximum amount of radiation that radiation workers should be exposed to, which is 20 millisieverts for the year. So we track to ensure that they're not being overexposed to such radiation. And then we issue a license, we do compliance monitoring and so forth. So once we go through from the HSRA and we approve a facility, authorize a facility, the public can rest assured that their safety is of paramount interest and protected.
Does that mean, Dr. Riley, that all these dental offices have been, what's the word I want, have been given the okay by your group?
Not all, and that is the alarming component. And it's not unique to dentists alone, because we have a number of diagnostic facilities that are not yet authorized. About 20%.
Why are they operating?
And that's the thing. So we're at a point now, the HSRA, where we are implementing the laws, because that government law established in 2015. We have been doing sensitization since the establishment of the HSRA in 2017. So I've reached a point where we are pushing to take the legal course to implement these laws established by the government, which are there to protect our people. It is quite alarming, Neville and Dele, that only 45% of facilities that use ionizing radiation in Jamaica are authorized. But they're doing so legally.
But shouldn't your group take licks for that?
And that is it. We must take licks for it, because we should have been implementing those regulations. We have had a lot of pushback from different fraternities within the space. And this is one of the challenge, Neville. We have been utilizing ionizing radiation in Jamaica for decades. Take ISINs, for example. They have had their research reactor for over 40 years. The regulations were passed in 2015. So there's a lot of work to be done retroactively to get these entities on board. And you naturally have pushback from different companies. Yep. So we have to be in implementation.
We have to go. Sorry, dear. Final question. And Dale actually alluded to it earlier. How do I know that this dental office is, for want of a better word, safe?
All facilities that are authorized by the Hazardous Substances Regulatory Authority, being medical or dental, carries a HSR certificate of authorization.
And I should see that.
And you should see that displayed in a facility. If you do not see it, ask the question.
Give me an idea what it would say. So
it will say such facilities authorized by the Hazardous Substances Regulatory Authority to use ionizing radiation in this category, and this is the registration number and expiration date.
And if I don't see that, you would suggest I don't go to that?
If you don't see it, I suggest you don't go there. And then you can find a list of all authorized facilities on the Ministry of Investment, Industry, Investment and Commerce website. We go to the HSRA link, and you'll see all the authorized facilities. And we also have a Google map link where you can actually click on the different tabs and it shows you the facilities that are authorized. So, we have to take control of our own safety.
Thanks for coming, sir.
Welcome.
Director General of the Hazardous Substances Regulatory Authority, Dr. Cliff Riley. Quite interesting.
Yeah.
Almost scary. Yeah. How going now?
Well, after the break, we're going to highlight an act of kindness from students at the Old Harbor High School.
Soon come.